have an optimal performance at all times. You want to have an optimal performance is that performance that can now keep one as to be part of the vision and goals of that organization. Having said that, let's look at what performance management means. This means systematically managing all the people in an organization. My screen is not showing. Okay, so let me stop share and start it and reshare again. Is it showing now? Is my screen showing now? Your screen share is loading. It's loading. Okay. Let's go. Okay, so I want to believe it's sharing now. I want to believe you can see my screen now. If you can see my screen, type 00 in the chat room. You can see my screen. You type 00 in the chat room. Okay, thank you, Joyce. Christine, please confirm that you can also see my screen by typing 00 if you can. If you cannot see it, she's offline. Okay. Performance management means systematically managing all the people in an organization for innovation, goal focus, productivity, and satisfaction. When we say satisfaction, who do we really satisfy? Who do we satisfy? We satisfy two criteria of first, our internal customers and external customers. Because when we say satisfaction, all our mind quickly run to those external customers. We say customers are king. Even your internal customers are king as well. Who are your internal customers? Let's say you're in audit department. HR department are your customers. When they come for anything in your department, they are your customers. If customer service comes to admin to ask for something for their process, at that point, customer service is a customer to what? To admin. So hence, satisfaction should not be looked at from the external aspect alone. It shouldn't be looked at from the external aspect alone, but also from both the internal and external. Please hold on. Okay, so it has to do with productivity. It has to do with innovation. Yesterday we said if your strategic goal, organizational goal is about innovation, your performance management system should be capped in that line. So performance management is not capped in isolation. That's let's just do a random performance management. It's capped in tandem with the organizational goal and objectives. Hence, performance management is the approach to the management of people using performance, plan goals, objective measurements, feedback, and so on and so forth. What is performance management? We are still on that. So, in discussing about it, we are looking at 4 types. Sorry. All right. So we're looking at 4 types of performance management system integration. We have the vertical. One would have expected to see the horizontal, right? Since we have vertical. But we have the goals, functions, and the human resources. And we'll come back to that. There's a slide defining all those terms, but just keep that in mind. So elements of performance management system. The key elements of performance management system include a formal compensation philosophy statement, salary administration, a formal audit or success rating overview on an annual or periodic or monthly basis. What does this mean? It means that for performance management to be effective, there needs to be a set out objective first. There needs to be a set out policy first, guiding that. There needs to be a philosophy guiding it. There need to be, you can say, procedures guiding it. Policy and procedures, especially policies. Because it's those policies that will now guide the goal of the performance management, what want to be achieved. Okay? It will also guide how the performance management will be administered. After that, we will also look at the in performance management, look at the salary administration, or you can say reward administration rather. Why do you say reward administration? Because performance management system involve a reward. The reward can be positive reward or negative reward. Yes, it could be positive reward or negative reward. And why is it positive or negative? Because it's performance management system. It means that after you have, which we are going to say at the third phase, after you have been appraised, after they've checked you and say, okay, this is what they set out to do. We're able to meet them. If you meet them, you'll be promoted. You have salary increment. You will have bonus. You will have this and that. You move upward or forward. But when you do not meet it, it's either you move backward or downward. That's why it is a system. It's the holistic system. And it has to also do with feedback. So that is why after you set your objective, the next thing that you should also look at is reward administration program. Basically, it's salary, but it's not only salary. So that's why you can see below you have job evaluation. After performance management, you can now be like, okay, let us now reevaluate your job and either reduce the workload or increase the workload, and so on and so forth. Have other reward programs for it. So it's a formal audit process. Of course, it's a systematic process where you're going to look at, like I said, you're going to look at what the person has achieved. If the objective that was set met what is said to be done. Okay, so it's systematic, and it can take different dimension. It could be a peer-to-peer. When we go to types of performance appraisal, are we using the peer-to-peer system, or we are using the 360, or we're just using the supervisor and worker approach? All this is what you will see under audit and so on the rating aspects. Principles of performance management. It's meant to support business strategy. It's meant to support business strategy. Number two is value driven. It's value driven. It's looking at giving value to business owners and to the organization. That is value driven, right? So it communicates organization mission and vision. It communicates organization mission, the vision, the objectives, and every other thing that we put a pointer to where the company or the organization is heading to. Please, if I am too fast, you let me know. I narrowly escape stammering, so my words might just be twisting. You may not hear me clearly, so I may narrowly escape to stammering. All right, thank you. I welcome Mr. Emmanuel. So it fulfills responsibility to the organization members. So in performance management, let's take, for example, you're using management by objective, where you have a set out goal between the management and the staff. So there will also be management obligations to the staff. So if you want me to achieve this, you should provide me a laptop, provide me a phone, provide me this, provide me that. So performance management also states the things that will be needed to achieve this set goal and objective. It also states the company objective, right? Enable employees to manage their own performance, manage expectation, clarify responsibility, create partnership between management and employees. Yes, this is also the time where management and employees sit down and discuss, emphasize the importance of feedback. That is what it should take home. And maybe even reinforcement. Why reinforcement? Because if somebody is doing something good, it's a time for you to reinforce that thing. And even if it's something bad that you've been saying, it's also a time for you to reinforce it. Empowers employees it depends on what it is. Let's say innovation and so on and so forth. So some key questions to ask when it comes to performance management. Why assess performance management? Why should we assess performance management? What performance to assess? Why do we have to assess it, and what performance are we assessing, right? This one, so the first one is appealing to reason. Why? What is the rationale? Why the second one is saying, what are the things we should look out for? What are the goals and objectives? How to assess the process in handling performance? Who should assess? Who is responsible now? When to assess the period, and how to communicate performance feedback. I can remember our last year performance appraisal. Some HODs, the staff we are supposed to sign off on their sheets, but some of the HODs that we are so smart did not allow the staff to sign off on the sheet. So they also sent it to HR. And when it came to me, some of the staff were not like, they didn't see what they got, what they scored, what they did. So I went to discuss it with some particular HOD, and they were like, I should not tell the staff what they rated them. I said, why? You're the HOD. So what did you do? You didn't communicate the good and the good, bad, and the ugly to the staff. That's what you ought to do. You ought to have communicated the good, bad, and ugly to the staff. So it's supposed to be a one-on-one conversation. Remember, I want this class, we should end this class on or before 12 o'clock, right? I myself am in another class, another class I'm taking, and I'm also in this. Somehow there's no how I could have missed it, because it's just the same time, 10 to 12, 10 to 12. So if I don't, it's 10 to 11:30, but I had to choose which is more important to me. So defining objective. How do you define your performance objective? To ensure that the objectives are properly defined, each of the following questions must be asked. Does the statement of performance target or goal limit the results to one specific area? So do you want to achieve one thing, or do you want to achieve multiple things? In fact, that one thing you will achieve, does it have a ripple effect? Does it have a ripple effect? Or what will be the ripple effects? Are the results well defined in terms of what's expected of the job holder? The labor law clearly states that it's the responsibility of the employer to provide job for the employee. So if that is the case, have you clearly shown that this is what you expected the job holder to do? Are the objectives measurable and observable? So can you measure it? Can we say, I want you to provide 30 tons of DRI. Was it produced? I want you to mine 25 kg of coal. I want you to, is it measurable? I want you to reduce customer complaint. I want you to increase revenue to this and that. I can't remember, that even reminds me, I can't remember seeing Joyce Hege in our last class. So later you give me a background about yourself. That will guide us also in the class. Thank you. So what's the time frame? What's the time frame that this will be achieved? Are the performance targets reasonable and within the reach of the job holder? So if all this can be summarized into one word, which we use in ensuring that goals are met, what was that word? There is one word that we use in ensuring that goals are met. Who can type it in the chat room for us? There's just one word. There's one word that tells us about achieving goal. All these things are summarized in that one word. Each of the in that particular word, each of the first alphabet, each of the alphabet stands for, for that. So I don't know if someone understand what I'm trying to say. If you do, I want to see it in the chat room. I want to see it in the chat room while we proceed. If I don't see it, then I can say, let me see if somebody can come. No, what the word I'm looking for, yeah, what you are saying is a lie, but the word is an acronym. It's a word, just a normal word, but it's now stand as an acronym for achieving. If you look at these things here, does the statement of performance has limits, result, specific area, define the terms, duration. So that particular word has I know there's something when I say you get it, but it's as well as saying the word. That's why I'm just trying to be conservative with the word. When we're talking about goal, we always say using the social format, using the social format, objective formats to craft your goals. I'm trying not to say it, but let me see if somebody will understand. I know I'm not making it very clear, but let me see if somebody can decode what I'm saying. Okay, so I'll come back to that. Objective of performance management. Objective of performance is to review performance of an employee over a period of time. By reviewing it, you can now align people. You can now align people to what we want to achieve. Okay, like I said, it ought to be 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, but I also feel like 1 year is so much to do that. Most organizations does 1 year, but 1 year is too much. To judge the gap between the actual and the desired, okay? So you look at the gap. You look at the gap in the part of the management, look at the gap in the part of the employee. Look at the gap in part of the employer rather than the employee. So does the employee, this is the period that you can use to discover if there's a skill gap that needs, so the employee needs training, either internal or external, or if the management or the organization need to provide workable tools, or in fact, the objective set, we are not realistic. So what the word I was looking for is smart. So when you look at the previous slide, we have it must be time bound, it must be specific, it must be realistic, achievable, and what again? And smart, measurable, yeah. Okay, so to help the management in exercising organizational control. So this is also a time for management to have reaffirm its control over the organization and be sure that things are going as it's supposed to be. Help strengthen relationship in communication. Like the example I gave you, that some HODs during that period, in our last appraisal, they just sat down in the office and they just tick whatever they want. And when it came to my department, I didn't see the employee signature. I sent it back to them. I said, go and reappraise the employee, sit with them. I want to see the employees comment on these forms. I want to be sure that you had that communication with the employee. So this is also to bring bond and some strengthening between the employee and the employer. Diagnose the strength and weakness of individuals so as to identify training needs. All right. Provide feedback regarding the employee. Provide information to assist in decision making by the organization. Provide clarity of expectation. Reduce grievance of employees. To judge effectiveness and utilization of resources. Performance management process. Performance management process. What is the first thing we need to do? We need to what? Setting and communication performance standard. What are the goals we want to achieve? What are the performance goals we want to achieve? So when you set your goals, when you set your targets, you communicate it clearly without ambiguity what you want to achieve, what it will look like when you achieve it, what results, what will happen when you achieve it, and criteria, so that it's not at the middle of the whole thing. I'm like, no, this is not what you want. Maybe you are thinking nobody will achieve it, and at the end of the day, everybody achieved it. There was a time in my organization where we introduced a particular reward and recognition. I think it is the attendance bonus or something like that. Attendance award or attendance reward. And the condition for the attendance is for anybody that's come more than 95 and above, you get extra 20,000 naira, 25,000 every 3 months. So if in 3 months, first quarter, the cumulative of your first quarter attendance gives you 95% and above, 195%, you will get, I think it's 100% actually. 100%, you will get 25,000 naira. So for January, February, so when we are going around to do our sensitization, somebody asked a question and said, if he was asking our global head, he said, if the whole staff comes to work January, February, March, and get 100% for the first quarter, everybody, is the company going to give that 25,000? And our global head said, yeah, why not? Why not? I'm going to give. It's okay. First quarter came. We had, my organization, we have on site, there are over 2,000 workers on site. So for that particular quarter, we had about 500 persons that hit 500 persons that hit 100 attendance, 100% attendance in 3 months. 500. So multiply 500 by 25. The whole, when we then submitted the list and our head office saw that, they were like, what? How can we collect 500? They will say, well, this is 500. There are people that met the criteria 100 over 100. But they didn't miss work one day apart from their days that are off. We said, our government said, like, no, we can't pay this, we can't pay that. I didn't expect to see this much. So at the end of the day, we're looking for ways to, try to reduce. At the end, we actually reduced up to 200 with using various other techniques to bring out discipline, those that had discipline in their file, but that was not the bargain. The bargain initially was, if you are able, since you want to reward performance on attendance, if you have 100% in the first quarter, you get 25,000 there. So from beginning, you have to clarify such things so that you don't catch yourself in the middle of the game changing the goalpost. The next is determine appraisal method. Determine the appraisal method and responsibility for appraiser. So who does what? Do we have a first person to appraise, second person to appraise, or do we have the downliners appraise the person before the person, or the person appraising yourself, the subordinate appraise, supervisors appraise, and so on and so forth. So the next is examine work performed. This is where you go into performance appraisal proper and look at what was done using the set out objective and the metrics. Then discuss results, give feedback, whether good or bad, where you need people to improve. You have to state it clearly. This is where you have to state it very, very clear so that everybody can understand what is expected. Conduct appraisal interview, discuss goal for the next step. So discuss your next strategy, taking corrective measure. And by the right side of the screen, you see anticipate and consider problem in performance appraisal, effective performance appraisal system. So you anticipate that depends on the response you get and the next strategy. Then from the course of the appraisal, you also look at people that might be under underperformance. Underperformance, you have to develop which program you want to use for either coaching, mentoring, training and development program, peer-to-peer, to ensure that they come out of if they are underperformance. And if they are good performance, high flyers, how can you make them better performance? So employees too have their role in performance appraisal or in ensuring that work is being done. First of all, one thing I always tell people is that you have to be loyal to the system. You have to be loyal to the system. There is no choice about it. Like it's not a thing to be considered. You have to be very, very loyal to the system. When you are loyal to the system, you can now begin to look at how you can improve the system. And when you're improving the system, of course, you're also improving yourself and your performance is going high. Sometimes I've had situations separate where I have to disagree with my supervisor. I say, no, sir, this is not the way to go. And you say, this is the way to go. Well, this is my supervisor, I'll let him be. If I go to his office, I'll give him reasons why this should be this way. Sometimes I win, sometimes I learn, right? So, balance scorecard. What is balance scorecard? This is an appraisal technique that is being used, administered as a way of measuring the progress of individual people or individual or the organization itself in the growth. All right. So it says balance scorecard is a management tool that provides stakeholder with comprehensive measurement of how organization is progressing towards achieving its strategic goal. So balance scorecard look at the financial and non-financial metrics. Look at short-term and long-term goals. So most people prefer using balance scorecard because it's more broad. But of course, there are so many other ways to assess organization, so many other ways to look at organizational growth, looking at organizational progress. But be it as it may, looking at organizational growth has to do with data. Data is data-driven. So whatever you are doing, you must be data-driven. You must be data-driven. You must understand that in this age, data is everything. It's not writing pages of reports. The report should be driven by data. Like myself, once you give me all this kind of bucket report, I go to, I look at the introduction, look at your objective of the report, and I go to your conclusion if you addressed it. So in balance scorecard, you're looking at the financial to satisfy our constituent what financial relation objective we accomplish. On the side of customer to achieve our vision and customer needs, internal to satisfy our customer and stakeholders in business, and learning and growth to achieve our goal, how we must learn and communicate growth. So balance scorecard is, like we said, it's looking at both financial and non-financial. And in fact, I usually say, instead of just limiting to financial and both financial, I always say that balance scorecard has to do with internal dynamics and external dynamics. That is where you see in some places where they put questionnaires for customers to fill, or they send questionnaires to customers. I don't know which of, I know I did a subscription recently, whether it's DSTV or something, and after that, they sent me a questionnaire. I should rate their service. They do a very short one though. Was I satisfied? All these kind of questions. So that could be likened to balance scorecard. Okay. Next. So when we talk about balanced scorecard in performance management, we're looking at now the aspect of custom, looking at from the angle of customer perspective. On this aspect, customers see it differently, you internally see differently. I was talking about the letter and the spirit yesterday when we talk about policy making. And this is also very important. Image making before the customer is very important, and it's driven by performance. And performance is driven by your culture, professional culture. So all these are intrinsically related to each other. So to achieve our vision, what customer needs must we serve? What do your customer need? Customer satisfaction, does it need to be average or above average? Satisfaction gap analysis. Satisfaction versus level of importance. You have to do that gap analysis to see. You may just think you're satisfying the customer, but when the customer's mind, you are not giving them what they want. Satisfaction distribution. What area of your services are they satisfied? What age or demographic distribution? Is it age, social status, or caliber of people are more satisfied? These are what you need to do when you are dealing with customers. Remember, I told you that customers are not just internal, are not just external. They're also, also internal. So when account is dealing with maybe admin, yeah, their customers. When enforcement or implementation department is dealing with construction department in a particular organization, their customers at that point in time. So, but all this, when you get this feedback from customer, to now drive you to understand how you're going to direct your performance. That is what we are saying. So don't lose touch that what we're talking about is performance. We're looking at it from a broader perspective. To satisfy a constituent, what financial and regulatory objective must be accomplished? Cost on unfounded requirements of project, cost of service, budget. So these are on cost implications. The next is on internal perspective. To satisfy customer, in which business process must we excel? It's very important that in any business you are doing, you're able to identify your core business area. Identify your core business area. If you identify your core business area, what it will do is that it will help you focus your energy, concentrate your energy on a particular business model or business area, right? So it will also help you to know how to distribute the workload, how to relate with your employees, how to handle employees related issues when it comes to internal perspective. Learning and growth in this particular object is geared to achieve our goals and accomplish core objective. How must we learn, communicate, and work together? This is also very important in giving employee satisfaction, because as much as you are rating the employees, you as an employer is also being rated based on how you relate to your employees, how you treat your employees, the level of people, the number of attrition rates you are having, and so many other things. Even technological investment, people are moving from using okay, I remember in the government sector, my mom is a retired civil servant, a great typist. So I can remember when they were moving from analog to typewriter. Many of them lost their job. A lot of people, but even as at the time they were moving to typewriter, she already even had the computer knowledge somehow, because of certain exposure she had. And I could remember one of the time, then Minister of tourism. When it was the Ministry of Tourism, was traveling to a particular country. She was among people that they picked. Why? Because she was a performer in aside her job. She was, like I said, a great typist. So that was what earned her that visibility. And when it was time for promotion, she was getting a lot of quick promotion. A lot of quick. It's easy to identify. Oh, this lady, it's Josephine. That woman, she's a bit. Now they use computer well for this ministry, you know. So that technology advancement and investment on employees also very important. So objective, original objective. Target needs to be set for all measurable. Of course, all this we've said before. You have to align performance. You have to align individual targets to organizational targets. Performance management for organization. You have to be feedback to organization to staff on performance. We need to give feedback. It's very important that we give feedback. Why do you need feedback? You need feedback because you want the people to improve. You want the people to improve on what they are doing, to become better versions of themselves. You want them to maybe stay away from a particular kind of way of working. Just depends. But whatever it is, that feedback is a very important mechanism. Feedback is a very important mechanism. Okay. Then encourages good work and points towards improvement opportunity. So if my people in Igbo will say, when you thank someone in one good that he has done, he will do even a much bigger and a stronger good. What I'm trying to say is that you should give feedback, not just feedback, but tell people that this thing you've done it well. Thank you. You really did this well. That's one of the strategy I use in getting my support. And when I did, they were like, okay, anytime you say this, I know you are boboing me, but it just makes me feel happy to do more. So you can imagine that. So just keep telling them that good thing. Oh, no, you didn't do this right, but honestly, this one you do is super, overshadows this wrong that you've done. I really love this. So give your employees such feedback. By 11:10, we'll go on a brief recess of 5 minutes. 11:05 rather, we'll go on a brief recess of 5 minutes so we can assemble at 11:10. 11:10 rather. So performance management for organization helps setting measurable targets, of course, increases role of clarity, helps point to training and development, increase compensation reward. So on this one now, compensation and reward, remember I would say it's the major thing that keeps people in organization. Take it up, take it down, twist it anyhow you want to take it. Compensation and reward, compensation and benefits, which is also compensation and reward, are the major things that keep people in organization. Major. So that's why I have to take it very seriously. It helps in career planning. Enhances corporate value. That's the time for you to recascade your corporate values again. So may I ask, do we know our corporate value of our various institutions? Do we know our corporate value of our various institutions? Don't know. We ought to go and we ought to know it. We ought to know that, because it is that corporate value that you, especially when you're head of the department, that you have to use to integrate into the minds of people that you are leading. Is that corporate value you have to integrate into the minds of people that you are leading. Performance managed organizations are likely to have the following characteristics. One of it is measurable performance targets. Okay, so it's measurable. Remember what I said about the SMART goal? If you're using the SMART goal technique, it must be measurable. Okay, manage learning linked with organizational goals. Remember, we said that there is no how you can be talking about performance management without linking it to the overall goal of the organization. Without linking it, yes, I don't know what you want to achieve. Preeminence of intrinsic needs of managers without neglecting their extrinsic needs. So this gives credence to the balance scorecard that you can't talk about performance management in isolation of just internal dynamics alone. You must look at the external dynamics. You must look at the external dynamics. Ownership of performance management by line management rather than personnel function. So it is the onus of the employee cannot wake up tomorrow and say, I want to be appraised. It's not done. The onus is on who? On the management to see how they can engage in performance, engage in how to evaluate the employee, how to encourage the employee, how to boost the employee's morale, and how to align the employees to what is obtainable. Strategy-focused organization. Mission, what we do. Vision, what we aspire. So it is your mission that leads you to your vision. So some of us have small businesses. What are your missions and your visions? What are your missions and your visions of your? I see people who meet me that can I get a business plan for me? And I'll ask, what are you? Give me your vision. Say, no, just write for me. I said, no, now you should be the one. You should have your vision. It's even your vision that will now. I'm carving your vision. I'm just helping you to put your vision into black and white. Not like I have the vision. You are the one that owns the vision that will run with it. I am just there to give support. But with that, no, just write. Anyway, you write. It will be okay. It will be okay. Don't worry. So it shouldn't be so. And that also say that in our current organizations, we have to know our vision and mission. And one other one is core values. What are your core values? Core values. Core values are also very important. In all organizations I've worked, I can still remember the acronym of our, not all anyway, I think in the last 3 organizations I've worked, I can remember the acronym. The last 2 I've worked and the current one I'm working. And somehow they're all related. The last one, the earliest one I remember now is called DISCO. I can't remember what the D stands for. I know that the I is for innovation. I can't remember what the S. The C there is for collaboration and so on and so forth. So we have the last place I was where I am now, Picassint. That's kind of very long. Then where I am now, our core value, the acronym for it is POWER. That I can remember very well. Punctuality, ownership, work ethics, etiquette, and results. So POWER. So what is the core value of the organization where you work? Ours is pride. Good. So good. You see. So it will make it to stick. It will make it to stick easily on staff memory. So strategies, it is that you will not align with your strategies to accomplish your goal. Okay, you use your strategies to accomplish your vision and vision. Measures, indicator of your product. This is where performance management falls. You measure it from time to time. Every HR process ought to be measured. Strategic performance management system. So this entails strategic direction, create environment for change. Performance management is not meant to just make things to be as they are. Most times after performance management exercise or cycle, after a concluded performance management cycle, there's usually a disruption. There's usually a change. There's usually a change in the work environment. There's usually a change in the work environment. After our last performance cycle, I changed my work environment to task based and not time based, so that my HR department now we close by we used to close by 6, but I changed the time to 7 p.m. and push the resumption time backward. So you resume late at night, wake up maybe, even if you are the type to wake up early by 5, 6, that's fine. That's on you, or 4. But we should be able to wake up maybe 7, take their time to prepare to work, get to work by 9 or 10, and be productive and not rushing 7 in the office. But again, not because I've done it that you want to go and implement your organization. There are organizations that, or department that cannot work. So you have to look at what also works for you. Communicate strategies. So when there's a disruption, you have to communicate it clearly. My staff were not happy about it, but I had to let them know why. I said, okay, we are in the manufacturing sector. This is 7 p.m. is a shift change time, and we're always having problem about shift change. We are the implementers, we are the supervisors, we are the. When I gave them the reason, they said, oh, that's good, that's good. That I said, plus for the fact that you are staying up to 7, you're getting an extra 1 hour pay. So it's a win-win for them. So the balanced scorecard measure using external process to improve your internal process, evaluate and adjust continuous improvement, which of course I've said you will keep improving and improving. Okay, so since this is 11 o'clock and we're entering a new slide, let us a new module. Let us take a 5 minutes break. We'll converge 11:05. Thank you. I will appreciate your questions when we converge. Thank you. All right. Welcome back to the last half. We have we spent extra 2 minutes, so we have 53 minutes to the end of the class. Meanwhile, do we have any question? Do we have any question before we proceed? Okay. So, no question. We will proceed. No question, so we'll proceed. So, key to performance management, there are certain things that needs to be present. Remember, I said that as one of the things you expect of you as a member of an organization is what to be loyal to organization. Very loyal. Your loyalty should never be doubted at any point in time. When that is done, trust is built. Trust is built around. Trust is built around you. People need to have confidence in you. People need to say, okay, yes, I can trust Michael on this task. I can trust Ikenna on this task. And vice versa. The manager or the supervisor should also exhibit attitude that will enable the employee have trust on them. If you are a lead or a supervisor and you put your employees in front when there is trouble, of course they will not trust you. I used to have one supervisor like that. When there is an issue, she will just push me, and the MD of the company will be blasting me, and then they will not tell supervisor, oh yeah, give me disciplinary action. This she'll be like, but I don't know. I don't know how to. I was like, but madam, you're the one who gave me this tax. Why didn't you say anything? So it got to a particular day. This thing I couldn't just take the bullet for her any longer. I said, ma, because our MD is a lady. He said all those discipline they were giving me, I don't deserve any. This is my supervisor is the one that gave me the tax. This. I couldn't just take it any longer because I was fed up. So I was surprised, like, why have you been signing all this while? I said, well, my training has been to just give loyalty to whoever I'm working with. And that was how she got not just pound of flesh that day. She had a very plenty kilos of flesh given to her this time around, because the MD, all the punishment I've served, they gave her double of it. So as a supervisor, you also need to make your employees trust you. Where I am today, I always tell them, we have a multicultural environment. We have over 200 expatriates working with us. We are the second employers of expatriates in Nigeria after Dangote. So we have over 10 nationals on site. So there's usually this multicultural thing, Muslim, Christian, Hindus, free thinkers, age, very old people, very young people are there. So it's sometimes when I'm dealing with, let's say, the very old people who happen to be junior to me, but because of the feel that they are older, I can't give them directive. And in fact, one told me one day that your total experience is, how did he put it? Okay, my total experience is your age. Your age is my total experience. And I gave him a query straight up. He was almost sent back to India, where he came from. It took the intervention of some other people to fight, had to just step it down. I said, you can't tell me that, you know. So when you're working in such places, you have that, you have to build that trust. What happened is that I have been able to match these people that they feel like, oh, these people are, after all, they're even the owners of the company. I don't do that. I don't because of that put my employees forward. I stand. I will just tell them, go and tell. I always tell my subordinates, tell them Michael said, tell them Ikenna said. Once they hear that, they'll be like, oh, okay, is he involved in this issue? So that I've been able to build that trust to that level, right? And that when anytime I tell employees do this, they'll be like, since now that I'm go do one. this Oga talk, knowing that I have their back. So performance management also is a time for to revalidate the trust that you've built either as a manager or as a staff. Encourage change. Of course, we've said this before. Use appropriate measures for each performance appraiser, because the performance appraiser you're going to use for, let's say, someone that works attend to customers, it's not the same performance appraiser you're going to use for someone that drives excavator, this big vehicle. It's not the same performance appraisal system. You can't use a blank system, because someone that attend to customer, we need to first have computer skills to have some certain attitude. But you don't need that from, you don't need someone that has computer skills, someone that drives a heavy duty equipment. You just need that person to be able to meet up, have a good turnaround time, less maintenance, less breakdowns, have a good maintenance culture, and so on and so forth. If you are following and you're understanding what we are saying, you can type 22 in the chat room. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So we have the distinction between performance appraisal and performance management. We've said this severally, that they are not the same concept. One is in the other. Appraisal is in performance management is a very broader. Performance system is broader from the two. What you're seeing on your screen. So I wouldn't just mind not waste our time talking about this. We've also talked about in our previous classes. Defining goals and work efforts. Performance management system is driven towards having goal, objective, purpose driven, clarity driven, to ensure that the goals that have been set out, all employees are aligned towards it. For this purpose, it is crucial that companies should put well-defined goals and clear goals and work efforts to each employee. Each employee should clearly know his or her goal and work effort required. He or she should know towards which direction is working on each day. So how do you even put up your week for your employees? You just come to work. Today is Monday again. Everybody is just doing what. Then on Monday, say, go and do this. On Tuesday, remember you've not done this, you do this. Why that is very possible, operational things can be possible. Why not every Monday before work starts, you have an engagement with your employees, giving them direction for the week. Direction for the week. I remember I used to do some things for the federal road safety. And in a particular week, they can be like accident-free week. And the engagement around all their base, all their units, all their commands will be on discussion. So in the morning, you see what they're having their morning briefing. If you go to a command in the morning, most Monday morning, you see them been addressed. They can be, this week is a week of driver's license enforcement. And that's why if you notice there are some days in Abuja, for those that are in Abuja, at least I'm sure of that the only thing they will ask of you once they stop your car, then that's not fire extinguisher, nothing. Is driver's license. Once you show that, you can go, even if other people are wrong. Because that is what the objective is for the week, and everybody's working towards that. I tried to do the same with the Nigerian police, but it didn't really work out for some reasons. So it is essential that the goals and work efforts defined should be specific, measurable, challenging, practically feasible, and encourage participation. Ensure that participation is encouraged. Don't see, when you have a diverse team, they will have various strengths and weaknesses. There are some of activities that when we're having our department, some people don't want to key in. So we have to integrate activities that everybody will somewhat be involved. You can see the SMART goal coming up here again and again. SMART goal. We have said this separately and separately, so not say it. Performance appraisal method. Performance appraisal methods. So this method I use for performance appraisal. Graphic rating scale, management by objective, essay writing, essay appraisal, multi-rater, ranking method, first choice rating, checklist, critical and behavioral. See, and all this, it doesn't mean that you can't integrate one or two together. You can use two simultaneously or three, depends as the case may be. Key components. But among all these, part of the most common one being used is behavioral anchored, where you look at how people behave. But most times you see this thing having a mixture of behavioral and management by objective. For instance, management by objectives where the management and the people involved set out what they want to achieve for a particular period of time. You have also the 360. I'll pick the most common used ones and the ones I also advise people to use. Look at the 360 multi-rater assessment or 360 degree feedback system, whereby the appraisee has back-to-back rating, including the appraiser gets a feedback on the exercise. Key components of performance appraisal. So what are involved? Who are involved? What are the nomenclatures that we'll get to see and encounter? We have employee, boss, client feedback, and colleague, boss, client feedback. We have employee accomplishment, overall performance, development, and learning plan, merit recommendation, goal setting, reviews of goals, accomplishments, and feedback. Okay. So performance evaluation rating. Performance evaluation rating reflects the decision by your immediate supervisor and upper management pertaining to the results you produce over the review period. Supervisor will rate each performance, expectation, goals, and competency using anchors list below. So you can have outstanding, exceed expectation, meet expectation, need improvement, does not meet expectation. The last occasion I worked, we were doing our periodic annual. I think this was our annual appraisal, and part of what somebody, when they first drafted it, the person had to draft it, the performance officer. Part of the rating he did was after need improvement, he said underperformer. Was he on that? Yeah. So I had to say, if we have an underperformer, we shouldn't have the person in the system. So I don't think anybody, we should stop at. We should rather stop at need improvement. And that's where we ended up stopping. You can use any other nomenclature that you wish: excellent performer, high flyers, any other thing. Before the appraisal, what is expected to do before the appraisal? Keep good record. Remember, yesterday we talked about documentation, employee documentation. Oh, not again. We're talking about employee documentation and my battery. I have to switch to my alternative device now. So just hold on, please, for a minute. Let me quickly switch to my alternative device. While that is done, let's proceed. So you keep good record. You must keep good record of employee encounter, any employee encounter you are having. It's very important to keep that record because that is what will sometimes make up your appraisal. Of course, expect that when you're appraising employees, you should have their file by your side, review goals, get input from others. Okay, even the HODs that will be involved, get them to be concerned about what's going on, the template to be used. Prepare carefully and not in a hurry. And prepare administrative details as well. Agree on how it's going to be done, the modalities. If it's a small organization, you can just have it within 2 or 3 days. When it's a big organization, it can be decentralized at departmental levels. During appraisal, explain the reason for the meeting. Let there be clarity of what wants to be achieved. Encourage communication, feedback. Stay focused on what is being discussed. Don't digress. Don't go into personal things. Communicate shortcomings in a very polite way. In a very, very polite way. And be open. Some people will give, when the employees are giving feedback, they'll be victimized. That is not a way to go. That is not a way to go. And by so doing, you see employees not saying anything. You see employees being silent even when they ought to speak. Okay, so I've logged in my other device, and if this goes off, we'll switch to the other. I'll switch to the other device. Let me just ensure. Okay, so let's proceed. Even though we are almost done, let's see. So after evaluation, evaluate the process. Okay, during evaluation still, evaluate the process, make promises, and don't be going you won't fulfill. Then after evaluation, you complete all the paperwork that needs to be completed, do all that needs to be done, follow up, put those that need to be in PIP, and encourage learning. Have a feedback interview. Of course, we talked about stay interview yesterday. I spoke extensively about that. So we'll not be discussing about this.
Oh shit. Okay, sorry, I never knew my mic was muted. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're talking about the manager's concern. That's what we're talking about. That the manager's concerned that what should the managers be concerned about? The manager should be concerned about first ensuring that about the performance and performances of his or her staff, bridging gap in performance expectation, securing equitable reward system, and then softening performance pressure. It is also on the manager to ensure that people are not overworked. I always say people are not working for an organization. People are working for you first. You are the employers first. You are the one that determine whether they come to work or they don't come to work. They're the one that determine their happiness to some extent. So, like I tell my subordinates, if you're not working for me, if you're not helping me achieve my goal as a manager, then I will show you the exit door, because it means you want my failure. And before you fail me, I will fail you. That's how it works. I'm not working for my GMD. I'm working for my CEO, whom, or rather, I'm working for my general manager, HR, even though I report in dotted line to the CEO as well. So I must help my general manager achieve his goal. It is my duty, because he's going to appraise me. Then my reviewer is now the second reviewer of my appraiser, usually the CEO. That was ensure that these two people achieve their goal. And that is how it works as a manager. You as a manager must ensure that these people achieve their goal for you. Your KPI is on this. The higher you go, the less handy you become. There are certain complaints that when someone comes to me, sir, my salary, this is, I can't imagine myself going to check salary for so person, or I couldn't get pay slip. Because like I'm concerned with so many other things that has to do with strategy. So what happens? I will just look for someone among my team to do it. And if I've told this person, I'll give you a pay slip in the next 2 hours, I expect this person to give me the pay slip in the next 1 hour for me to also be able to go through the pay slip and see if there's any error before I send it out. And this person is not effective to me, then obviously we can't work together. So managers, you should be concerned about the performance of your staff. Performance management methodology. What to assess? What do you assess? You assess three basic things. The objective, which is the overall goal of the company, what the company wish to achieve. You assess behavior of the staff. Does this staff come to work on time? Is this staff rude? Does this staff align with the value, with the core value of the organization? Look at competencies. How handy is this staff? Oh, he has Excel skills. He has PowerPoint skills. Like among my team, when it comes to Excel, at least there are two other persons better than me, but before I meet them, at least it must have been something very, very difficult. All those advanced Excel, but it's all those basic Excel, and now I can use also advanced formulas, conditional formatting, and various other things to deal with up to 1,000, 2,000 data. So in my team now, I know those who have that competency. And I've told them, I said, this year, you people must get Excel skill. You must get PowerPoint skill, because the world is moving towards data. Okay, so these are the methodology to use. Okay, we'll set this in different ways. Steps in writing performance management, writing performance and the goals. Step one, begin by writing down the basic nature of the task using only verbs and noun. Example, source for new clients. You can see the example by the side. I will not go through that. Include qualitative and quantitative that must be met by the person and person responsible for the task. So you put figures, specifics, and qualitative. Of course, remember I said yesterday that qualitative may not be able to, it might be difficult to measure, but there are still ways to measure it. For instance, employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction can be measured, right? By administering a questionnaire and giving a weight to each of them. If necessary, add procedure or criteria that describe the action to be taken to achieve the goal. Always add procedure. It will help you. Okay. Review and refine the target or goal where necessary. So we've said this. Key performance indicators. KPIs. KPIs. Yes, they were talking about job description and KPIs. We are talking about it today. When we are dealing with employees, KPIs are very, very important. Because people will say, when you say something is sweet, you have to tell us what it's tasting like. So you can't just say someone to do a job without telling us if the person, how you have to measure to ensure this person have done the job as you wanted it. That is what KPI does. KPI tells you that this person has done the job, how he or she is directed to do it. It should be measurable. It should be measurable. In anything KPI is or not is, it must be measurable. So you measure it by employee productivity. Employee productivity. Under it, you have average sales turnover per employee and average profit per employee, value added per employee, employee cost of starting from even cost of recruitment, cost of keeping an employee, cost of anything on employee. You put so many costs, and that's why you see now that it is not just a HR affair. In doing this, you also have to have a good financial knowledge, basic, or at least seek guide from the finance department when you are doing such a thing. Employee turnover, percentage of employee that leave the organization is given within a period of time. Can we say what is the turnover rate, average turnover rate? Yes, I mentioned yesterday. Yesterday I told you it's 5%. 5%, not more than 5%. When it's more than 5%, then there's trouble. But in sectors like educational sector, where teachers come and go, hospitality, that's hotel business, right? Restaurants, they are very volatile. Then we have where again, health. Health is also another interesting place with high turnover. And most recently, we have the real estate in Abuja is becoming something else. High turnover rate. Today, you see a marketer coming to market you a particular that is with one home like that. Tomorrow, the other that same person is with another home. You'll be like, what happened within 3 months? Okay, and part of the reason for that is because they set unrealistic targets. I've consulted for one of the homes like that, and he's telling someone to go and get how much is it? 350 million every month. That's where would you get it from? You should go and, even if you go and rob from a bank, that money is quite a lot monthly, and not just one person. So I told them, I said that goal is not real. So they keep changing marketers every time. And I told them, the problem is not the marketers. The problem is not the marketers. The problem is the goals that was set. Remuneration benchmark, we'll talk about recruitment process, we'll talk about that. Average salary versus competition industry, we'll talk about that even yesterday. Willingness of the employee to recommend company as an employer. So these are also indicators. Can you tell someone to come to my company? Can you tell someone to come to my organization or come and work in my organization? It's a place to be. That's when you're doing performance evaluation. These are things that comes to mind. Employee development percentage. So all these are performance indicators that should be taken seriously. Again, look at career and coaching. Percentage of employees that partake in career and coaching program, either internal or external, will tell you the level of hunger this employee have for growth. Okay. Average lead time to develop success, skills, and competence that are required. Average lead time to close skills, competence, and gap. Percentage of required skill competence available with the organization. And there are so many other of them. And the last module is challenges of performance management. We have so many challenges. People are naturally resistant to performance management. So let's start with determining evaluation criteria. This is determined by your sector, your industry, or your organization. It determines that, okay, so what, if you're in a sector, let's say you're in, what consultancy, management consultancy should use now as a method, a methodology, or evaluation criteria cannot be the same what a biscuit company should use, because one is qualitative and the other is quantitative. So it's really a problem of what to use, rating and rating instrument. Focus should be on development of employee. But then what I'm talking about, rating and rating instrument, how do you administer it? How do you administer it? Is it online? Is it physical? If you come to a place like where I work and you want to administer online, it may not work because a lot of people, some people are working, they don't even have a phone. They don't even have a phone, like they don't have a phone. You reach them through their wives or their husbands or their daughter or son. So if you go to the bank and they decide to do it online, it's going to work out for them very seamlessly, right? So lack of competence in that, careful selection of raters and evaluation. Ensure that those who are rating have the competence, have the knowledge, have the technical know-how on what to rate, how to rate. Feedback should have employee developmental approach. Well, oftentimes we don't say there's really resistance to that, strong resistance to that. Even sometimes the employee in solution that don't have firm grip on their organization, you see employees deciding whether they should be appraised or not. All right. So these are requirement for effective. We've done this. We've done this. We've done this. It's just a reinforcement. We've done this. So let's take this case study and we go. Newton has just been appointed as the vice president human resource of this same company we read at the top, Helios Incorporation. He wants to get a better understanding of performance management system of his new company. What should he do to understand performance management system of the company? What is meant by key performance indicator and how are they useful? All right, so we'll just unmute our mic and in 1 minute, just 1 minute, as professionals, we also need to know how to use time. So in 1 minute, you tell us, you are trying to attempt, give us a feedback on this question asked based on this case study. The mic is open. Yes. Christine, your mic is not active. Your mic is not active. Okay, good. So you can unmute, anyone can unmute themselves and give us a clarity to this case study. Who want to attempt so we can have clarity?
For me,
If you can see the screen, that's what we want to attempt. We'll just do that and we go. That's the last
for me,
thing for this morning before we meet in the afternoon by 2 o'clock on our last lecture for the day.
Can you hear me, sir?
Is there any challenge I don't know about?
Can you hear me, sir? Hello?
Or we can't hear me.
Hello, can you hear me?
We have a full house. So
Mr. Falabi, Mr. Falaba wants to respond to the question. Doctor.
Okay.
Yes, I think he's on call. You want to answer?
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. He's not actually response yet because I'm taking some time to understand the principles of the performance management so I can respond to it professionally.
Okay. But
Yes, sir.
But you say you want to know what?
I said I actually just need some time as I'm trying to take my time to understand the principles.
Okay.
Yes.
No, if I tell you the principles, then I'll be giving you expo because I already showed the principal slide already earlier. Okay, so maybe when you're able to get it, you can give us 1 minute of your. Who is the next person that attempts? Just 1 minute. You don't need to say much. Who is available? Okay, so we don't have anybody that want to attempt. Okay, so it's pretty much straight and direct. You see, it's asking what should he do to understand the management system of Helois. I'm right. You see, in management, there's no right or wrong answer. That's what I want people to know. Especially at this level of facilitation, there's no right or wrong answer. We just have different approach. Okay. So let me take an example of when I came into my organization to answer this question. So at the time when I came in, it was half the year of that particular year. It was half the year. And I was asking them, I want to have a 6 months, have they had their 6 month appraisal or they are preparing to have it? Because that was about 6 months, half the year. They said, no, they don't have anything like that. So I had a briefing with the general manager, HR, and discussed it with him. Told him on the need to have it, even if we don't have it for the entire, even if we don't have it for the entire organization staff, we can have it only for the support staff. And there was a buy-in. With that, I got access to previous appraisal that have been done, and I looked at the technique that they've used to do that. And when I saw that, it guided me in making my report and recommendation. Okay, so I use documentation, past record, and communication. I also use the job description to use to draft out the KPI. But one thing that guided me in all these things was the objective of the company. There was a yearly objective that was set. The objective was to begin to expand to a number of metric tons of what we produce. So the appraisal was based on expansion. So we use support service to see that how our support service contributed qualitatively in ensuring that the technical staff get all the support they need to meet their qualitative targets, quantitative targets. So that was the yardstick that we used for the first one. So it was only for support staff. Now, when it came to the end of the year, we then did for everybody. And we used qualitative and quantitative. Why? Because like I said, the technical staff, you could measure that they are producing so number of tons, so number of metric tons, so number of kg of this, so number of that. But for support staff, you cannot really say what they are doing. So we're going to use that expansion to set KPI. Some part of the KPI went around cost. Even up to drivers, we set the level of high turnaround time and high record of accident or complaint or vehicle breakdown. So I use previous records, the organization objective, engagement with people, JD, and to set the KPI. Then what is meant by key performance indicator? How useful is it? Of course, it's very important because this is what gives the measurable yardstick. This gives a measurable yardstick that is used for performance appraisal. It makes performance appraisal less subjective. It reduces up to a great percentage of human interference in performance appraisal, of human bias in performance appraisal. Okay, so this is just an explanation of that case study. Thank you, and that is my time. We'll be meeting by 2 p.m. again. I don't know if there are further questions. In absence of that, let's meet by 2. Do we have any question? Do we have any addition or subtraction? Thank you so much. So I believe that we don't have any question. Thank you, the program director who has been with us from the beginning of the class to now. I could also see, okay, Damilola have left. So thank you so much, every other participant of the class. Do have a wonderful time. Rest till we meet in the next 2 hours.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.